Hello there, welcome. That was a bit of fun there. I'm on my way to Tulibody and Alwa, but there was a bit of a puddle, so I had to stop and film it, and I haven't wasted time, but there's a problem with being a YouTuber, isn't it, really? It was like being a journalist, I suppose. In the old days, it would have been a journalist. You're filming and you see something else happen, you're just lucky. Now the equipment is easier accessible to the average person. And what today I'd like to talk about is people being obnoxious on the internet and how to deal with them. It's quite easy to deal with them. You just don't deal with them. It's how to deal with them. It's like, yeah, I suppose I am bothered by it, otherwise we would be talking about it, but it's like there's this sort of like big wall between the person and the other person that they're connecting to, or they don't even recognise it's actually a person. Maybe in the future, yeah, it'll be robots or like semi-robot humans that connect to each other. So feelings, feelings are not important. It's just like, so I put like a lot of stuff on last night, Hoovers and stuff, and you get like really comments that, I mean, not a lot, but I've got one or two comments that you wouldn't say to somebody if you met them, if you in a cafe or something, or like the majority of people wouldn't be so rude, And what I do is I just ignore them, but it's taken me years to learn that skill, because you can't, just because I can see the light, or I can see the light, what I mean is I can understand humanity better than what they can, or I think I can. Doesn't mean to say that I can share that with them, because they won't accept it. It sounds kind of a wee bit religious, that actually, doesn't it? I don't consider myself to be particularly religious, but I think so. Like, there's somebody's trying to buy. It's just like how, like, life skills. How do things work? How do you, like, whatever you're trying to do, you've got to negotiate with other people, haven't you? So how does it work? There's this guy, come on, about 3 days ago, he's got Hoover, he's a Hoover person, right? He's got a shop. So he says, so I had like 4 or 5 Hoovers, and he wanted just one of them. And the one he wanted was probably, because he knows what he's doing, it probably the one that was worth having, So that was a £5. So he was just like idiot. He wanted me to take it to Tulibody. And then he didn't have any cash, so it's like he wanted to do something and I says, no, I don't want to do that. And it's like, how are you going to run a business if you can't see that capitalism or business has to be an equitable thing? It has to be a person's getting something, another person's providing something, and they have to be remunerated for that, and it's like, this is a young guy, and it's like, you don't have a fucking clue. You think I'm an idiot, don't you? And I'm just going to do whatever you want, give what you want, and I'm not going to get anything for it. It's like, I mean, maybe I've thought like that in the past, yeah, maybe I have been like that. That thing where remember the guy Dominic, what's his name? I can't remember his name. The guy with the bald head in the telly. He would go and tell you how to haggle hard, like really like haggle hard, and argue about what you were going to get and how much you were going to pay, and then just as you thought you'd go even further, like you would haggle even harder, and the clutch is quite quick in this car. I nearly stalled it there. The other car I've got, it's I sort of changed over to this one today, and I sometimes do that with this car, because like really quick, goes whoosh, you know. I think this is the better clutch, actually, probably. Anyway, right, so, you know, it's like, well, and I get that with people, they're like, really trying to, and when they do that, I just ignore them. I don't want to deal with them, get lost. I mean, I'm not going to start going on about some cultures, because there's some cultures like that, but there has to be some kind of relationship going, and actually, there's some, the Indians, and I like them, actually. Generally, I like them, right? Asians, Indians. But so you've got to deal with them in an appropriate way. So when you get like British people, Scottish people doing that, you just got to ignore them. Get lost. I don't want to deal with you. Sorry. So then they lose out, because they don't get anything that you've got, because they don't want to be equitable. They want to stuff you, and then they get everything out of it. You know, it's like, no, it's not going to work like that. Fucking dummies. So the road on the left will be closed. It's the road to Bridge of Allen. It's always closed. Honestly, it's always. I mean, slightest bloody. If it was like a slightest shower or something, it'd be closed. I mean, that road. Well, they sort of close it in one way, because you always see traffic coming out of it. So it's like, how do you deal with people? So business and dealing, it's all intermingled, you know. And obviously business is different from family life, or, you know, well, it isn't necessarily. You know, you can still, when it comes to money and things, do's and don'ts, you know. I mean, there's a side, I suppose there's a side of me where I'm actually really helpful and really kind, and you'll end up getting done over in a business sense, you know. So like, same with families. Families are very, very difficult to deal with. I think really the bottom line is, if the mother and father are not on the same page, it's going to be desperately difficult bringing up children and grandchildren. You just have to do your best. Well, that's the situation with me, but it's very, very hard to get through to certain people. It's basically, it's just that thing again where you just avoid them and ignore them. But I mean, so it can be quite like pressure, like a lot of pressure when you're dealing with the internet. Back to the internet again, you know, when you're whatever it is you're trying to do. And obviously I do YouTube videos, so I mean, there's some people that are really obnoxious on YouTube, you know. It's like, and they're really like illiterate, most of them, you know. It's like they'll say something, but they've got to be more creative now, because I've got most people, including there's quite a lot of water down there. Most people, including myself, will have the thing tightened up so you can't, you know, be obnoxious. So some of the horrible comments get through, and it's just like, why can't you just be, you know, why? Or like one of the videos I've done, so really pissed them off, you know. It's like really upset, and it's weird because sometimes a video can really upset somebody that you wouldn't expect it to, you know. You would think, why does that upset them? But I think it's just because most people have an inability to see things from other people's point of view. I think that's really a problem with humanity, you know. So there you go. Blah fucking blah. So it's like, I mean, some of the things they say, it's like, what the fuck are you on about? So this guy, the guy that I was telling you about with the dice, with the Hoovers, the guy that thinks he's on. What you get is sometimes, you get this in the motor industry. I had this with a guy with a Rover SD1 in Scotland. He thinks he's the only person that's got any authority to talk about a Rover SD1. And I was trying to buy a car off him, and I felt he tried to dominate me. Like I'm not. He didn't make me feel like I had any. What's that word? Oh, I forgot the word. It's when you have autonomy. And I just thought, you're an arsehole, I'm not going to buy a car off you. So I didn't. And then I met the guy with the Hoovers, reminds me of that guy. that he thinks that he's the one that like the Dysons, I'm the only one in this area that. So he's saying, oh, I can take these off your hands, you know, and so far he hasn't offered me cash, he hasn't offered to pay me to deliver them. So he's sitting there, and then to make it even weirder, right, this is the funny part, he's like misgendering me, which is something that happens to me because I'm obviously, I started off being male, now I'm female, and I sound like a male, which is fine, you know, and I just kind of ignore that. But the ironic thing is, this guy's like getting my gender wrong now, which I'm not really talking to him, I'm ignoring him. I did, because he did get my gender wrong. But the ironic thing is, he's gay. So he's married to another man. Fucking gay, right? He doesn't understand transgenders. Yeah, well, that's a bit selfish. I'm not expecting everybody to understand it, but you would kind of think that somebody in that position, you know, who's went and married a man who's married another man, but I'm not saying they're married, but probably, like, you know, they're living together in a relationship, which is, you know, in this day and age, you can pretty much do whatever you like. You've got to face the consequences of what you do, but you can do whatever you like. Or a woman, you could be with another woman, a man with another man, you know, whatever, anything. Racial lines as well was something that would have been frowned upon years ago. All these things, you can do these things, and really, yeah, there's no argument for it. If somebody does that, that's fine, they can do that. You know, you can't say that's wrong or anything, you just can't. So, anyway, I'm rambling on about that, and that's the way things are, you know. And I have obviously my problems with everything, but I've got to deal with my problems with that, so I don't expect anybody else to take the burden of that, so I'm not expecting them to understand totally what my situation is or position. But I would just say be courteous towards people as best as what you can, you know. But if you're too arrogant like that person, then you're not going to have any understanding. I suppose it's what it's called is emotional intelligence. It's low in emotional intelligence. Now I'm going somewhere now which I'm quite low in intelligence, because I think it's up there. Yeah. I think it's one of the ones, so better not. Probably is. I think it is. Right. Oh well, I hope you enjoyed that rambling. It was a lot of rubbish. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and please, that's me, switch the car off. Please like, share and subscribe.